Welcome to another weekly installment of Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weishuttle, and joined as always by my producer and co-host Doug Weishuttle. Doug, what's up?
A lot.
I know.
The World Cup. I have to admit,
to the World Cup.
I have to admit, I was not a soccer fan until I started watching this year's World Cup. I've never seen so much scoring in soccer before.
Well, I'm going to do you one better. I wasn't a big World Cup fan until I placed a bet on it. Like I said last week, I bet on it at the Borgata, and I bet on Brazil. So I've been watching it, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying myself.
So what you're saying is my liking the World Cup is more pure than yours. You have a financial gain. I did not place a bet.
Love of the game. But hey, let me tell you something. It's really interesting. The funniest part, I think, was I saw Argentina beat who did Nigeria. And I guess they scored it was 2-1, and Argentina's Diego Maradona. I saw this as it happened. He gave someone the double bird.
He put up the score.
Absolutely. There's got to be a story behind that, because I don't know. He was looking down over the railing, and then he flipped the double bird to someone.
He was just telling somebody how many goals they scored. Yeah. That's all. It was a real honest thing. But World Cup's going great. It's fun to watch.
Fun, yeah.
I never expected to enjoy it, but the scoring is amazing. And on a flip side of everything, the NFL's in the news for another odd reason. New York Football Giants defensive back Janoris Jenkins is actually in the news, or at least his house is. They found a body.
Yeah, a dead body in his, I guess his basement.
They found it in the basement. Some workers found it. It was a family friend.
Found it.
Yeah, he was having some work done
on
and they found the body in the basement. They don't know what the cause of death is, but they did discover it was a family friend staying there while Jenkins was in Florida.
Okay, that's bizarre.
So it's a family friend. They knew he was in there, but they don't know why he died yet. So we're waiting to see exactly where.
Very strange.
What goes on with that. So, that's been a crazy week.
It's been one of those weeks. So let's take a ride on the Turnpike.
Exit 1.
Speaking of odd stories, we are going to start with the PGA Tour.
Not like golf. Love golf.
They are investigating one of their players, Bryson DeChambeau. DeChambeau. This is not because he was cheating. They don't know if he was cheating.
I don't get this at all.
He was using a compass during a match.
Which, by the way, I don't know how that helps you in golf.
According to him, he's been doing this for over 2 years.
So he's admitting to using a compass.
Yeah, it helps.
I don't get this at all.
He says it helps him. Let's see. I'm looking for his reasoning here. He's been using a compass to help figure out the true pin locations on the course, because he says the pins keep moving. When they
after every day,
they move the pins.
Yeah.
So he's actually finding the angles and everything else.
But does that really help you? I don't get that. I mean, look, he's not using one of those things where it's a laser beam telling you the distance. He's just looking at the direction, which I don't see how it helps at all.
Well, first of all, we're on the radio, so a compass is like a protractor. You're doing the angles and everything else. It's not a directional device.
It's
just so people know what we're talking about.
That kind of compass. Okay.
It's an architectural tool.
Okay.
If you want,
right.
Or an engineering tool or whatever.
I still don't see how that helps.
Well, even the PGA doesn't know what to do. Their statement was, after consulting with the U.S. Golf Association...
That helps less.
No, it's helping him because he's playing well.
Well, that's more... That might be like a...
Well, this is the PGA. They don't know what to do either. After consulting with the U.S. Golf Association, there is no clear precedent on the use of a compass in this matter, and it is not currently prohibited under the rules of golf.
That's superstitious. I mean, that's what he's doing. It's superstitious. Like Tiger Woods wears red on the last day. He uses a compass, which I don't get that at all.
Well, you know what? This is his second run-in with the PGA, because last year he was doing a side saddle putting form. He was actually standing to the side of the ball and then putting on the side.
Well, I guess you can putt any way you want, but
they stopped him from doing it. But the reason they told him to stop was because he was using the wrong type of putter. It wasn't a regulation putter.
Look, I understand the putter thing. I mean, you can't use a juiced up bat in baseball. You can't use a juiced up. You can't use a deflated football in football.
Well, no one said it was. That was the reason they gave him, but he was just putting side saddle. It was a different form of putting.
You know, he can putt however he wants, but if he's using an inappropriate device...
That's what they told him.
All right.
So
wow. This bizarre. I don't get this.
They're still investigating. We don't know what the outcome is going to be.
PGA's got to lighten up. They're so stuffy.
Well,
I'm
just glad they got rid of that rule where people can call in and tell on people who commit fouls during the match. That's just crazy.
Exit 2.
We're going to talk a little sports business here. A couple months ago, a month or two ago, AT&T and Time Warner merged.
Yeah.
And they created probably one of the biggest sports rights bundles in the world here. Right now, the AT&T Time Warner company airs the NFL, the NBA, including playoffs, Major League Baseball and the playoff games there, as well as the NCAA college tournament, which also includes the Final Four. So AT&T's got all those rights. They also have DirecTV Sunday Ticket as part of their properties, and also all of Turner Sports. They're going after the Cubs now.
Wow.
Supposedly they've been trying to get the Cubs rights package for God knows how long, and it looks like right now they're going to be going after them and try and get it for next season.
Boy, how have we progressed? I mean, when I was a kid, it was WGN in Chicago. They were the Cubs, and I guess it was owned by It was owned by the.
It was WGN. It was.
But that was owned by one of the newspapers.
Yeah, it was.
And for a long time. And by the way,
I can't even think of the name anymore.
In New Jersey, they were on my basic cable. So when I came home from school, they had the day games, and the WGN was part of our basic cable in New Jersey. That's how amazed I was at WGN. But now, oh my God, what's happening with AT&T and Time Warner? The merger is just. You can get any playoff game anytime you want, game.
Here's the key that AT&T is able to offer. They're able to offer broadcast, digital, and any other kind of online kind
streaming,
of streaming. Yeah, everything. So it's an incredible deal, and honestly, the Cubs may be able to get a ownership stake in the channel that they get the rights with.
I have AT&T on my phone. I wonder if this kind of affects me, or if I can get some. Cheap sports.
Well,
because I'm part of the AT&T family.
AT&T will be taking this away from NBC Sports if they get this deal done. So AT&T is going to be a monster in the sports rights industry here.
Oh, absolutely. I know. NBC Sports in Chicago has a lot of stuff going. They have the. I guess they were Comcast, and then they switched over to NBC Sports, and
Comcast,
same thing like Philly.
Comcast and NBC Sports did the merger for that channel.
Yeah,
so,
it looks like they might be losing out.
Well, I'm waiting to see if the Comcast NBC Sports channel hangs onto the Bulls too.
Oh yeah, no, that's interesting.
That might be the next one.
Yeah, because you said they have NBA, right?
They have NBA, including playoffs, all that stuff.
Wow.
So
should be interesting.
They're just getting bigger and bigger.
Exit 3.
We're going to stay on the business side a little bit more here. And this one, we're going into the NCAA, the college. The Big Ten Conference was just made $51 million from the revenue distribution under its new TV deal. Now, this is all the teams excluding Maryland and Rutgers. Rutgers and Maryland will not see any kind of money from this distribution deal until 2020-2021 season.
Because they're, I think they're new members.
Yeah.
Of the Big Ten. Yeah, Rutgers I think went over 2 years ago or something like that.
This is almost
part of the conference. They were American Conference or whatever they were called.
This is almost a 30% increase from the revenue last year.
Sure.
This is because of their deals with Fox, ESPN, and now this Big Ten network that they own.
Well, that's why Maryland and Rutgers, they're going to take the hit for the first 2 years, and they're going to reap the benefits.
And Nebraska's first time getting revenue share, and this actually helps Nebraska maybe retain their head coach, Scott Frost, and also his coaching staff, because he was asking for gobs of money, and now with this extra money coming in, it looks like it's they're actually going to be retaining the coaches.
This money for NCAA football is absolutely amazing. I mean, and the networks that they have, like they said, the Big Ten network, they have the SEC network. Check out your cable company and you can take a look at what channels they have.
And they're expecting each team next year to get $52 million.
Oh, I can imagine. The advertising dollars that are coming into these networks and these TV deals is staggering.
Now, the one thing it's a Big Ten conference, but I think there's how many teams in there? 12?
Well,
13?
Yeah. Well.
So, but they're each getting $51 million this year, and SEC is getting over 40, Big 12 over 36.
Well, look, they're a good area. There's the East Coast. You know, you got the New York market, you got the Philadelphia market, you got the Washington market. You know, that's what you want.
It's all the different TV networks. It's all the different, even the streaming deals are bringing them money.
Sure.
So everything is working out for these guys, and you know, God bless them, and it's just going to keep growing. And all depends on how good the deals are that they're getting.
I'm watching their. I was watching their spring games. I was like, every network has their football team spring games. You know, their scrimmages against each other. So it's interesting. I'm loving college football.
Exit 4.
Obviously, we cannot have a show go by without having to talk sports betting in some way, shape, or form here.
Well, I'm going to have an interview about sports betting coming up right after the break, so you might as well ease on into it.
The smallest state in the union is going to take the largest piece of the pie for sports betting. Rhode Island just passed their budget, which part of the budget legalized sports betting. They're going to be getting 51% of every bet taken in the state once they enact this.
Yeah, you know what? The whole thing with this, the 51%, it's got to be profitable for the operators. If it's not, they're not going to do it. So, you know, Rhode Island doing 51%, Pennsylvania, these enormous fees and the enormous tax rates. You know, you're going to scare away people from getting involved in the market. You know, these operators are not going to get involved in the market if, you know, they're not going to make any money. So they're,
you know what?
Really stupid.
Rhode Island has some time to figure this out before it really gets into effect. They're planning on launching October 1st.
Which
is
weird.
It's going to be only in the land-based casinos. I think it's only the 2 Twin River casinos. There's one currently in Lincoln, Rhode Island, wherever it's and then
there's Newport too. There's one in
Newport?
Tiverton.
They're building that one in Tiverton. That's on the Massachusetts border. They're going after the Massachusetts customers. But you know, now,
one of those Twin Rivers that's operating right now, it's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes from Boston.
Yeah, and they're trying to deal with the Massachusetts casinos. Massachusetts is having 2 new ones launch, one this year, one next year, hopefully. Actually, the Indians in Massachusetts just are restarting their bid to do another casino. So Rhode Island's going to try and compete with this. But for every $100 bet, the casinos are only going to make $17.
That's ridiculous.
There's no reason for them to do this.
Why would they even do it?
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And you know what? They got to have an incentive. I think they got to rearrange this. Even the tech companies running the sports betting operations in these casinos are going to be making $32 versus the $17 in the casinos. That doesn't even make sense for they can't even promote it.
And Pennsylvania is the same way. I mean, this isn't like you know, Rhode Island's not alone in this. Pennsylvania is ridiculous with their fees. They're ridiculous with their tax rate. I mean, they're pricing themselves out of the market.
Well, let's see what happens. I think they're going to have to redo that budget.
Another thing interesting about Rhode Island, why October 1st? Everyone else we're going to be ready for the NFL season. Why October 1st?
They're hoping something happens with that second casino.
Oh.
They want 2 casinos running it. That's the October 1st date.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but at least one of them is going to be having it October 1st. I think they're giving them construction time. So we'll see what happens. I think they got to redo that. Otherwise, it's not going to make sense.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of sports betting, join us after the break. I'm going to talk to Daniel Kustelski from Chalkline Sports. He's an amazing company that provides sports books and what are you laughing?
They would actually be under that Rhode Island law. They would be doing the $32 per every $100 bet.
So we'll get his idea on what's coming up for sports betting, how people are handling it. And Doug, you want to tell people how to get in touch with us?
You can reach out to the show 609-512-6510. That's our call or text line 609-512-6510 at Turnpike Sports on Facebook or Twitter. Always love hearing from everybody. Email us at info@turnpikesportsradio.com. Don't forget to order your International Bikini Team calendars. info@internationalbikini-team.org is their email address to get the information on how to get it. And unfortunately, no Turnpike Sports Police Blotter this week. Everyone's been behaving a little bit. So, you know what? That'll be in the next episode. And, you know, Dave's interview is coming up after the break.
Like I said, Daniel Kustelski from Chalkline Sports. We're going to talk all things sports betting, so stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports. Now, you've been hearing me talk about MyPillow and their different promotions, like the 4-pack special and the MyPillow mattress. Well, the folks at MyPillow now have a new special offer for all of you. It's called the MyPillow 2-pack special. Head over to MyPillow.com and click on the 2-pack special link right on the homepage. You can't miss it. And here's the offer. Use our promo code CARDS, CARDS, and you'll be able to get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for one low price plus free shipping. You can choose from standard, queen, and even king-size pillows. Same 10-year warranty, same 60-day money-back guarantee, and they're all made here in the USA. That's the MyPillow 2-pack premium pillow special. 2 pillows, one low price when you use our promo code CARDS at checkout. You'll also get free shipping on your order. That's MyPillow.com or call 800-319-7913 to order by phone and use our promo code CARDS, CARDS. Better sleep starts with MyPillow.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to AT&amp.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on the free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And for your viewing pleasure, 6 free spicy movies on DVD, plus free shipping! Always sent in discreet packaging. So go to AdamandEve.com now. Get 50% off plus 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. Again, that's BABE16. Because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at AdamandEve.com.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. Well, if you ask anyone what the big gambling news story has been lately, they'll probably tell you sports betting. Both Delaware and New Jersey have opened up sports books, and it looks like soon other states will be following their lead. And with us right now, we have the CEO of a company I think is one of the leaders in the sports betting business, Daniel Kustelski from Chalkline Sports. Daniel, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dave, for having me. I appreciate it.
For those who are not familiar with Chalkline Sports, what is it and what services do you provide?
Sure. So Chalkline is really designed to help all of the people who are or the companies that are going to get licenses. So the tracks are going to get licenses, the casinos are going to get licenses, and we just help them identify and engage with customers that are already on their database that gamble with them, maybe in other forms. Maybe they gamble on horses, or maybe they gamble at the tables or slots or whatever it may be. And we help them identify and engage the sports bettors in that group so that when they actually do have a sports book that's up and running, that they've got customers from day one. And that's the crux of what we're doing at Chalkline. We built a mobile platform that offers free to play games to acquire those customers. But ultimately, it's really we're really working with the casinos and the tracks and the potential licensees.
I think casinos right now who don't offer sports bettings are going to be really behind the times. Now, if I'm a casino operator and I don't know too much about sports betting, and I contacted Chalkline Sports to look into the possibility of offering sports betting, what would you tell them that they would have to look at first before offering sports betting?
Well, I mean, certainly they need to. I mean, they need to look at the lay of the land inside of their state, and to just understand like some of the finer details, such as what the tax rates are going to be, and potentially who might be getting those licenses. But I tell every single casino or track that they can start right now acquiring their customers and identifying and starting to build that sports betting relationship with those customers. They don't need to wait until the state has decided, okay, we're gonna take our first bet on the 1st of October or on the 31st of July. They can start doing that right now, and that's really what we're helping them understand and helping them through as a process. They've got to get sports betting software. They need to figure out whether or not how they're going to run their book and whether they're going to get a third party to run their book or they're going to run it internally. All of those details are important, but certainly we just let them know, look, you're going to need to acquire customers, and you can do that now.
I'm sitting here in New Jersey right now, and it seems like every day there's a news story about sports betting somewhere on TV or radio. And right now it's in Nevada, yes, Delaware, and New Jersey. But how quickly do you think that other states will follow suit? How quickly will this spread to other states?
Pretty quickly. I think that a lot of times people compare it to maybe the rollout that happened in the daily fantasy industry a couple of years back. I don't think this is going to be anywhere near that slow. West Virginia's on the cards to do it pretty quickly. Rhode Island's on the cards to do it pretty quickly. Mississippi, and these are all within the next kind of 1 to 3 months. So New York just recently was bantering back and forth inside the state legislature, but I think that there's money on the table for a lot of interested parties, both the casinos, states from a tax perspective, and everybody's really just trying to get this done as quickly and as responsibly as possible. And so by the end of 2018, to have 10 states up and running with sports betting seems like a pretty good over and under.
What was interesting to me, I was in Atlantic City the first day sports betting was offered, and I noticed that some people who wanted to place bets actually didn't initially know how to do it. How do you go about how do you go about tapping into that market? The people who are unfamiliar with sports betting but want to really get involved with it.
Yeah, it's a great point. The education is a critical component, I think, to sports betting just in general. People there's a lot of sites offshore. The estimated number was $150 billion that went, that was gambled on sports last year. That's according to the American Gaming Association, and that's a lot of money. But there are still a lot of people that didn't partake in anything that was illegal, and they were obviously just waiting for legal form of gambling to occur. Now sports betting is around, and I mean, so many times, we just get asked a simple question, what is a money line? Yeah. Can you explain to me spreads and why is there a minus 4.5 on the opening NFL game and the odds are different on both sides. So we get this a lot, and it is going to be critically important for the casinos to understand their customers and the level of sophistication that their customers have, and that there's going to be a massive growth of sports bettors that just have never done it before but would like to have some skin in the game, the $5 or the $10 on a particular game or on their favorite team, and they really are intimidated to go place that bet. A good example of that is, horse racing, I think, has really, suffered from a lack of education and maybe a complexity of the product. Sports betting, I think, is going to be a little easier to understand, but certainly the education component is going to be a massive part of the growth of sports betting in the U.S.
Speaking of Atlantic City, tell me about your work with the Tropicana Casino, because I told you off air I'm having an absolute blast playing your baseball daily pick 5. But for people who aren't familiar with it, tell us a little about that.
Right. So we partnered with Tropicana in Atlantic City. They haven't started offering sports betting yet. Certainly, they plan to in the very near future. But what we're working with the team there on is just providing really simple, mobile first, free to play sports betting games. So it looks just like a bet. You're going to get some odds, whether that's the money line. We've got various types of games. In fact, I think right now we've got a game on where LeBron is going to end up, with LA being pretty short. But we offer these games so that we can start to engage with their customers, with their loyalty members, with, the people that play on their social casino, people that come into their casino, and go to the sports bars. And those are probably, potential customers of theirs, and they want to start to offer some fun prizes. And so if you get 5 out of 5, then you can win various things. I think there's Amazon Echo up for grabs, and maybe some dinners and some bed nights. But it's really just working with Tropicana, who are pretty visionary in this space. I mean, they're the first ones that have come out on this, offering a free to play, type scenario. And we're rolling these games out almost as though it's a sports book. But obviously there's no consideration, so it's not gambling.
Now, do you think programs like that are a good way for people who are unfamiliar with sports betting to ease themselves into it and get more familiar with the activity?
I do. I think that the intimidation factor that we just talked about is part of that. But also, people just want to see what it's like to pick some games and to understand what that process is. And there's so many case studies around maybe social casinos where, again, it's free to play, engages people, helps them understand a little bit about the product and about playing without them having to spend any money. And I think that there's going to be a lot of Americans that are going to want to, try things out and test drive, the process and the experience maybe before they actually do put money down and go to the window or bet on mobile. So yes, without a doubt, I think that this is the sports quote unquote sports betting light, I think, is going to be a very popular product in the United States. As these states are rolling out in various timelines, for people to get moved, for the casinos and the tracks to get moving as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, I love it. Like I told you, I'm playing it every day, and I'm determined to break 3 out of 5 games for your baseball one.
It's tough.
Yeah, I know, but I'm going to definitely check out the LeBron game that you have.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we've got World Cup games as well.
Yeah.
And that's what we're working with Tropicana. I mean, obviously there's a fun schedule of sports, and for those sports fans that truly do understand the calendar, there are things happening all the time. So tennis tournaments and golf tournaments, college football season is coming up, pro football season is coming up. So there's always things that are going on, and something for everybody, and that's really what we're trying to touch.
Do you think what you're doing at Tropicana right now, will that eventually in the near future become a real money site, or are you planning something different?
Right now we're really looking at just acquiring and engaging with people on a free to play perspective. There is a possibility that we could look with working on a real money games, because it's so simple, and the UI and the UX is really easy to engage with. But yeah, right now we've got so many potential customers, casinos and tracks that are just wanting to get something out there in the market because they've got a database of customers that are real money aspirations, maybe a little ways away.
It seems like reading the news stories around the country that the states or the new sports books are using the start of the NFL season as their goal to start. In your opinion, is the NFL the number one sports people bet on, or are there other sports that do just as well or better than football?
Yeah, great question. If you were to talk to me about, if we were having this discussion, and we were in Biloxi, Mississippi, I would venture to say that NFL might not be. In fact, it would probably be NCAA football. There are, heavy baseball-centric regions. Across the board, football as a sport commands 38% of all the betting handle in Nevada, and as I understand from the bookmakers, that's a split between NFL and NCAA. So it's pretty close between those two. Certainly, the most popular sport, but baseball has been increasing. I think it was about 67% in handle over the past 5 years. Basketball is 41% over the past 5 years. So it's really, I think it really does depend on the region, and that's one of the things that we've been working on with our potential clients is making sure that we are specific to that particular geography. There's no need in talking about West Coast baseball. With Tropicana, let's put the Phillies and the Yanks in there, and the Mets. Okay, maybe just the Yanks and the Phillies, but that's really what we're working on is making sure that it's regionally specific, because bettors are actually, as personas, bettors are actually, they tend to be pretty much just homers. They're going to bet on teams that, if I went to the University of Tennessee, I'm probably going to back the University of Tennessee. And, if I'm a Vikings fan, then I'm going to probably back the Vikings. So, it's really just understanding the sports better. And that's what we're helping our clients do, is just understand those personas and how to touch their lives and entertain them.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
We'll get right back to the show, but I want to take a minute to talk to you about Bean Genius. How would you like your coffee delivered right to your door every month, maybe 2 times a month? Well, now that can happen with Bean Genius. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country at beangenius.com. And Bean Genius actually learns their customers' individual taste preferences, then suggests future coffee blends for them. Well, how do they do that? Well, this is the cool thing about Bean Genius. Over at beangenius.com, they use an algorithm which learns the coffee flavors you like and then pairs up what you like with the coffee that they have in stock. And it's all based upon you. Every time you order, the system learns. The system learns your preferences as you go along and order more and more coffee. And now, all our listeners at Turnpike Sports can get a special offer. You head on over to beangenius.com/subscription, and you'll be able to get 10% off your purchase when you use our promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E, at checkout. That's 10% off at beangenius.com/subscription with promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E. beangenius.com, the smart specialty coffee subscription service.
Do you wake up with a sore neck or a bad back? Or maybe you just had an awful night's sleep? Must be the bed, right? Well, maybe it's not your bed. Maybe it's your pillow. That's why I use MyPillow. I sleep great at night and wake up pain-free. And now there's a great deal being offered by the folks at MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the 4-pack special tab, and use promo code CARDS or call 1-800-319-7913 to take advantage of this 4-pack special. You'll get 50% off 2 MyPillow premium pillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. MyPillow.com with promo code CARDS. That's promo code CARDS to take advantage of this 4-pack special. Better sleep starts with MyPillow. Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. For those of you just joining us, I'm talking with Daniel Kustelski, CEO of Chalkline Sports. I'm glad you brought that up because recently I just came back from the East Coast Gaming Congress, and people were there in Atlantic City talking about sports betting and what sports books can offer to entice people to put bets down. And one thing a lot of people brought up was something called in-play wagering. What is that, and do you think that's something that future sports books should incorporate?
In-play wagering is betting on any particular event or outcome after the opening whistle or the game has started. So it's once the kickoff has kicked off in NFL football or college football, and then possibly betting on the point spread or betting on who's going to win. Without a doubt, if you look globally, that's a huge percentage of gambling that happens. I think it's about 70% of all wagers across the globe are in-play wagers, and that's really because some of the reasons for that is really because mobile phones and mobile betting has really taken off. It's 70% of all online wagers that happen across the globe as well. So, people have their phones. They're checking it 150 times a day anyway with all the social apps and messaging and information. People now are the technology is advanced enough where people are wagering, from their mobile phone. Here in the United States, personally, I think it's going to be huge simply because American sports really do have a propensity to stop-start a lot, and there's a lot of commercial breaks. So unlike if you're watching a World Cup game, and believe it or not, the in-play game, betting on World Cup is pretty high, but it's pretty much 245 minutes of constant play, whereas. And so you would think that might be a little more difficult, yet everybody still, bets in play. Whereas in the United States, we've got so many opportunities, so many timeouts, so many TV timeouts. Those are all, as I look at the market, those are all just massive opportunities to get a wager down on, who's going to have the most points at the end of that particular quarter, who's going to have the most points at the end of the half, or what the point spread is going to be at the end of the game. It's just it's probably going to follow these international trends where probably 5 to 6 years it'll be 70% of all wagering that happens.
We do a mailbag section on this show, and every week we get questions about sports betting, specifically online sports betting. So I'm glad you brought that up. How close, in your opinion, are we being able to place bets online?
Very. There's going to be a pretty quick transition. Right now, there's a lot of discussions about only retail only. In many of these states, I think New Jersey is going to go online pretty quickly. But there's also this discussion about mobile on premise. So if you've got, inside of your land-based casino, if you've got a sports betting, retail shop there, you can offer mobile betting just on the premise. So it's kind of targeted just for that specific location. But I think pretty quickly that's going to transition into online sports betting, and it's a function of when, not if. And that also then opens up a lot of interesting discussions about the rest of online. I think that online gaming here in the United States has been a little behind the rest of the world. Online poker, online casino, online bingo, and I think that with the proliferation of sports betting and online sports betting across the United States, I think people start to soften to online lotteries. Once they soften to online sports betting and online lotteries, they'll probably soften to online poker or online casinos.
We talked to a lot of people who are involved in the casino industry, and they said right now it's only New Jersey and Delaware sports betting, but a lot of people have said, don't expect them to look like the Superbooks in Las Vegas. And they think it's going to look a lot different than the Las Vegas model. Do you think New Jersey and Delaware and other states who adopt sports betting will follow how Vegas handles it, or do you think states will focus more on different components of sports betting, the online component or the kiosks in a regular casino? Well,
yes and no, and I don't mean to sit on the fence too much. I think that there's a lot of positive aspects that Nevada brings. The big Superbook type sports book, I think, is a big draw for the Westgate. It's foot traffic into that casino, and I think that if I look at Mississippi, that's about to legalize sports betting. I think it's within 3 or 4 weeks. They've got a bit of a geographic monopoly, and they can turn those casinos into destinations. And for the college football gambler that wants to come in on a Friday night and gamble all day on Saturday, and then probably turn that into NFL. So providing people with those locations to do that, in that retail environment, I think is big. But all of these casinos have sports bars, and pretty soon after mobile sports betting is introduced, or mobile on-premise sports betting is introduced, everybody's going to be able to bet on their mobile phone, and they can just walk around and inside of the casino floor and do it wherever they want to. And so I don't think that there's going to be maybe as much infrastructure, just from a unit economics perspective. It's expensive to build those large sports books, and the casino floors are always, looking at efficiencies on, if I put a slot machine, in 3 feet by 1 foot of this casino floor, what's my ROI on that versus, having a sports book. So, those are the questions I think that a lot of the larger land-based casino groups are looking at. And I would just venture to say that, that they would probably be, spend their time and effort and then resources maybe a little better just trying to get mobile and legalize mobile sports betting, making that happen maybe rather than building out a real large, superbook type of sports betting location.
This is fascinating. Can you tell us a little more about Chalkline and how it was formed? Because from what's happening in the world, it just seems like you're in a perfect position in the market to help casinos and sports bettors, because I got to tell you, the activity is so new to so many people around the country that it's just amazing where you're at in the industry.
Right. Yeah, well, we've had a lot of people ask if they can come and work at Chalkline, believe it or not.
It sounds amazing. People tend to want to gravitate towards the industry, and I think that's great. I think for so long, sports betting has actually just been an industry where it's been seedy and nobody really sees it as a true career. Just by way of background, I lived in South Africa for about 13 years. And I was in sports marketing leading up to the 2010 World Cup that was held there in South Africa. But where sports betting is legal, there's a really close relationship between leagues, sports teams, and the gaming companies. And so I made this transition over to a software supplier, and we built a sports book. Launched it in 2009, actually, in South Africa, and then we sold it to a big land-based casino group in 2013. So my current partner, Jason Foster, he built the software. I was more the commercial side, and so we've got good experience understanding what these land-based casino groups are going through, and the challenges that they face integrating a sports book into their operations. From a technical perspective, from an HR perspective, from a marketing perspective. So there's a lot of there are a lot of ways that you need to integrate the book in order to make it truly 1 + 1 equaling 3, and that's an experience that we've already had, and that's an experience that we certainly shared with Tropicana. We continue to share with Tropicana, but all of our potential clients. So we started the sports book and sold it, and then I came back to the United States actually in 2015. I ran an ADW, so it was online horse racing, harness racing, and dog racing business called Watch and Wager. But yeah, horse racing was a lot of fun. Online horse racing was fun. I think we were legal in about 28, 29 different states. But it was, the tea leaves were starting to say that sports betting was coming. The American Gaming Association in 2006 came out with this website, Sports Betting in America. You could start to just feel that this was something that the casinos were behind. The states were, certainly looking at DFS at the time and thinking that that's going to be some additional tax money, and you couldn't help but think that sports betting was going to fill that gap as well. So, yeah, we started Chalkline, about 2 years ago, and we built this platform of ours, and effectively it's actually a sports book. We got the band back together, as they say, from South Africa. We brought in actually my brother who was running a ticketing company at the time, and there's actually quite a few guys in the ticketing industry that are now in sports betting, because there's a lot of similarities to selling tickets and obviously selling bets. And so yeah, we formed the company and kicked it off and built this platform, and effectively it's a sports book. We integrate data just like any other sports book would integrate data. We can offer every sport imaginable that you could find on any normal overseas or local website or sports book, and we just simply just create those games and offer them for free to play on platforms like what you see with Tropicana. So yeah, we were we might have
we got really lucky probably with the timing of it all, but we felt like the U.S. was primed for sports betting, and we had some experience in it.
It's absolutely perfect timing. I if you mapped it out, you probably couldn't get it this perfect.
Yeah, right.
But you mentioned you ran a sports book in South Africa. How different is sports betting in the U.S. compared to South Africa or other countries?
Well, yeah, probably the biggest thing is just the sports and the knowledge of the sports. On my book in South Africa, we were about 35% rugby, probably 25-26% cricket,
cricket. Oh,
and
wow.
then 20-ish% was soccer. Tennis was 10%, and then there's kind of everything else. So, when you look at the American market where, football is 38, basketball is 31, and baseball is 25. Those are certainly some challenges, and certainly, when I look at the European, there's a lot of European suppliers that are running around America right now trying to peddle their wares, and they trading a soccer match, is going to be slightly different than maybe American football, where there's not where there's not this massive international market where you can take hundreds of millions of dollars and determine prices. It's going to be a little more centric to the United States. Baseball the same way. The prospect of booking baseball, baseball has a really low margin. It's only about 3.2% margin last year in 2017 out of Nevada. And the average of all sports is about 5%. So booking baseball is a challenge because it's a regional sport. People are diehard inside of their regions, and as a national book or as a book in Nevada where you're taking money from the nooks and crannies of America where they understand those teams really well, it's difficult. So that's going to be a challenge, I think. And that's certainly a lot of the differences between some of the things that I've done in the past, but and maybe running a book here in the United States. But the principles are the same, and using technology in order to help you resolve some of your risk management issues. That's going to be pretty similar. But yeah, there's definitely some similarities, but there's some specific challenges, I think, to booking here in the United States.
Where do you think sports betting goes from here? I know Congress wants to have hearings on the issue. Do you think that will lead to federal regulations, or do you think sports betting will be left to the states to determine their own rules and regulations?
It feels like the horse is bolted already around the states regulating. I just can't imagine, the federal government coming back and providing some stipulations. And I know that would probably benefit the leagues. They're looking for this integrity fee. They're looking for a national framework. They had their chance. It just doesn't feel like the states are willing to sit around and wait for kind of a federal framework, because that's already been postponed once, I think, in the past couple of weeks, and it'll, and there's just no, you've got to get consensus across Congress, and I just think that's going to be a bridge too far. I think the states are just wanting to run with it, and football season is coming up, and as I mentioned, football is 38% of the handle in Nevada, so people are really trying to get out there and get in front of football, and offer, at least get a process in place so that they can offer, in this coming up, before this coming up football season. So it just feels like, as idealistic as it may have seemed for a federal framework, it doesn't seem practical at this stage.
Daniel, we're running out of time, but I want to let you tell people how to get in touch with Chalkline Sports and read all about the amazing things you guys are doing in the world of sports betting. Yeah, great. I'm on LinkedIn, Daniel Kustelski, or you can go to www.chalklinesports.com. Certainly, ping me at daniel@chalklinesports.com as my email address. We're on Twitter. Follow us somehow, some way. If you ping us on any of those mediums, there's little doubt in my mind that we'll get back in touch with you pretty quickly. Daniel Kustelski, CEO of Chalkline Sports, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Well, that'll do for us. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.